You know, sometimes in comics, you hear a name and you just gotta laugh. Young Nasty Man? Seriously? But trust me, behind that goofy old school name is one of the darkest, most tragic stories in all of Miracle Man. It's really disturbing stuff.
And that really gets to the core of what we're talking about today. I mean, what if a villain was never supposed to be evil? What if their entire life as a monster was just a program? A role they were forced to play in a nightmare they didn't even know was fake? Yeah, that's the story of Young Nasty Man.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll talk about why he's Miracle Man's dark mirror. Then we'll jump back to the original Nasty Boy. After that, the truth, a manufactured monster. We'll see what happens when he wakes from the dream, and finally, why he's really the first tragic victim.
All right, so Miracle Man's dark mirror. Look, you can't really get what makes Miracle Man so groundbreaking without understanding this guy. He's not in it for long, but I'm telling you, he is key to all the dark, twisted themes Alan Moore injected into the series.
You see, he's not just some random bad guy. He's the dark mirror to the whole heroic Marvel Man family. A total victim, driven completely insane because his entire reality was a lie. They all came from the same twisted experiment, but he was the one chosen, no, forced to be the monster. He's a victim. That's it, full stop.
Okay, but before we get into the horror show, we have to understand the facade, the big lie. So let's jump in the time machine, back to the 1950s when comics were simple, and so was our Nasty Boy.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The difference is staggering. On the one hand, in the 50s, he's Pontag, some mischievous alien, kind of silly. But the 80s reality? Oh man, he's Terrence Rebek, a human orphan trapped in a lab. It's a gut punch. So let's look at that original happy-go-lucky version first.
So yeah, back in the day, in the original Mick Anglo comics, he was Pontag, an alien from the planet Victo. He gets his powers from an elixir of power, right? Fights the hero, young Marvel Man. He's strong, he can fly. It's all very, traditional. Super lighthearted villain stuff. Pure 1950s comic book fun. No darkness in sight.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that little trip to the past, because it's over. We're about to rip that happy facade right off and look at the cold, hard, horrifying reality. Welcome to Project Zarathustra.
So, what was Project Zarathustra? It was a secret program run by a truly evil scientist named Dr. Emil Gargunza. His goal? To create living weapons, superhumans, using alien technology. And the key ingredient for his little experiment? Orphans. Kids.
And the way Gargunza did it, it's just pure nightmare fuel. Step 1, he gets orphans, kids nobody will look for. Step 2, he implants them with this alien quiz tech. Step 3 is the crazy part, the body swap. When they say a magic word, their mind swaps into a superpowered body that's kept in like another dimension. And step 4, the real kicker, their real bodies are just lying in a bunker, sedated, living inside a shared dream.
Think about that for a second. Their whole lives, all their adventures, their fights, all of it was fake. A shared virtual reality. A dream that Gargunza cooked up to test them, to control them. They were just lab rats in his messed up God experiment. And they had no idea. They thought it was real.
And here's where it gets even more tragic for Terrence Rebek. In this fake dream world, he was specifically programmed to be the villain. He was cast as Young Nasty Man, to be a punching bag, a foil for the heroes. So while the other kids got to live out these heroic fantasies, he was forced to be the monster. He never, ever had a choice in the matter.
So, what happens when the dream ends? What happens when a mind that's been programmed to be evil suddenly wakes up to the real world? Well, the fallout is exactly as horrifying as you'd expect.
Okay, first, let's just remember the power level we're dealing with here. These aren't just strong guys. This is the whole Miracle Man family power set. We're talking lifting over 100 tons, flying faster than Mach 2, a force field that makes them basically invulnerable. We're talking about literal gods.
And all of that power was just handed to a broken child, a kid whose entire mind was shattered the moment he woke up.
So, what happens next is just brutal and fast. Rebek wakes up, completely insane from the trauma. He busts out of Gargunza's bunker and just goes on a rampage. It's a pure, murderous spree fueled by confusion and terror. Gargunza has to unleash Miracle Woman to stop him, and their fight ends with Rebek dying, falling into a volcano.
So you might be asking, why are we spending so much time on a character who dies so fast? Well, because his legacy, his impact, is huge. He is the first tragic victim of this whole horrible mess.
Look, his significance isn't about his power level. It never was. It's about what he symbolizes. He's the poster child for scientific hubris, and, even worse, for the trauma inflicted on a child.
I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it? His villainy was just a manufactured response. It was a reaction to being trapped and tortured his entire life. He wasn't evil, he was broken.
And that's why he's the dark mirror. He's the warning sign. He's the prelude to the much, much darker fate of Kid Miracle Man, Johnny Bates. Young Nasty Man's rampage shows us exactly what happens when you give this kind of immense power to a corrupted mind. He was the first sign that something had gone terribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah, young Nasty Man was the first casualty. He was the first time Gargunza's programming just went completely off the rails, the first proof that this experiment was doomed from the start.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Who's the real monster here? The kid who was programmed to be evil, or the man who wrote the program?